So if your dream is to hit the road full time, but making money while you're on the road is your biggest hurdle, this video is for you.
We're Marissa, Nathan, Hensley, and JJ. We sold our house in 2015 and moved into an RV full time to live a life of less junk, more journey. Life is a journey. Let go and get going.
What's up, fellow journeyers? So when it comes to living full time and traveling in an RV, there are definitely some hurdles, but I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest, or the most common that we hear about is how do I make money while I'm on the road? 7 years ago, we had the same question.
7 years ago, we were watching these videos trying to figure out what to do as well.
14, 15, 16, 16 bananas in his belly.
We had this dream. We knew it would take a while for it to fall into place. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk through where we were at, what we did, how that's changed over the years. And then probably, to me, the coolest part of the video, not so much what we do, but we've met dozens of people, if not hundreds of people who have told us how they've made money on the road in so many crazy ways that maybe you've thought of it, maybe you haven't. But hopefully you'll leave this video with some new, fresh ideas on how you could make money on the road too. Okay, so for us, 7 years ago, Sticks and Bricks house, I see this crazy adventure. I say, Marissa, would you want to do this? And we start brainstorming, okay, we want to do this, but how do we do this? How do we make the money? At the time, I was working pretty much remotely. I owned a computer repair business, but I could manage it remotely. I built websites. I did SEO, which was helping people get found on the first page of Google was one of my goals with my clients. So a lot of that could be remote, but Marissa's job was not quite so remote.
I am a nurse, so I was working full-time at the hospital. And luckily, if you're in the medical profession, there are lots of travel opportunities for nurses. So that's one of the great things about being a nurse is even though my position wasn't set up for travel, it could be used as a travel opportunity. So that is what I did with nursing is kind of batched my shifts and got lots of time off to travel in between. I think you'd be surprised if you look at your current position and see if there is a way that you could step out of the box a little bit. That wasn't quite a position that was available, but once I went and talked to my employer, or we've heard of other instances where people have talked to their employers and kind of worked out a schedule that worked for them.
So we worked that way. I did my remote stuff. We did our batching stuff for almost 2 years. Along the way, we started to film videos. They started to take off. It was a lot of extra time to do that side hustle to see if the YouTube thing was a thing and then build up our brand, Less Junk, More Journey. But after, two and a half years, I guess, something like that, we made the choice. I slowly started phasing out my clients. She started phasing out hours with her employer at the hospital. And then we started focusing on our brand, Less Junk, More Journey. And so today, our income is spread out between, and we'd always been doing this too, but we had some real estate, which we'd been doing along the way. I guess we're seen maybe as YouTubers, but really we see ourselves more as like, I don't know, what do we see ourselves? What's our elevator pitch?
What we consider Less Junk, More Journey is essentially a travel brand. We create videos and content that we hope is informational, inspiring, encouraging to get people living their best life. So it's more than just YouTube channel. It's how can we make an impact? How can we inspire you guys and help you guys through these videos?
So a lot of the time when people think of Less Junk, More Journey, or maybe YouTubers in general, they may assume that that income is only from one source. We actually have multiple streams, or it's diversified in different ways. The big one that most people assume all your income is from this, it's actually like, 20%, sometimes less, sometimes more, depending on the year. But that's the ad revenue. So those are the commercials you might see on YouTube. We also do brand deals. We work with other brands. We have Amazon affiliate income. We have merchandise sales. We do sell a couple of courses. That's a real small part of what we do and the overall picture. And then probably like the most important or the biggest chunk of what as Less Junk, More Journey, the direction we've decided to go is the community model, which we've decided to do through a platform called Patreon. And Patreon, honestly, when we decided to make that shift to Patreon, 3-ish years ago, that is what pushed us to that point that we could take Less Junk, More Journey full time. So how we make money on the road is good. It's an example. I know we made a video in the past that, oh my goodness, that was like one of our most hated thumbs down videos. Like we are not doing any more money videos. But in the beginning of the video, I said, well, how we make money is not important. What's important is figuring out what your skills and your passions are. And then, we did eventually share how we made money, but a lot of people didn't make it that far, and they just said, oh, this is terrible. Like, just tell us how you make money. And so we have told you how we make money on the road and how that's changed over time. But again, I don't think that's the most important thing, because if you're not passionate, if you don't have a nursing license, if you don't like sitting in front of a computer for hours at a time, if, there's lots of things. So I think this is cool. What we're going to do right now is look at lots of different ways we've seen people make money. Our good friends Mike and Leanna with the Dry Campers. Mike already had a background in electrical. Leanna already had a background in business, and she managed businesses for different clients. They took their passion, their skills, and now they're doing solar installs full-time, living on the road, backed up like over a year to do these solar installs for people. They took what they were passionate about, they matched it up with a need, and now they're doing great. And I think that's really cool example of like a way that you can do that.
So I talked about how if you have a medical license, how you can travel, but did you know that if you have a teaching license, you can travel? We have a good friend, Michelle, who travels full-time with her family, and then she uses her teaching degree to teach English overseas. So I think that that's a super cool opportunity that even if you're a teacher, you can travel and teach remotely.
A lot of people, since they're going virtual with Zoom calls or coaching over the phone, one of our friends, Erica, she does health coaching with clientele primarily over the phone. And so you can do coaching type calls if you have experience in a certain area. You can just pivot what you're doing. I think it's really good to always be looking at these different examples of how people make money in different ways. Not because you're going to do it the exact same way, but I think at some point something's like it's like literally like a light bulb. It's like, oh man, I could do that. I would be passionate about that. There is a way for me to pivot with my normal, where I'm at, and talk to my boss and make it remote, or maybe just do something totally different on my own. Or a lot of these people, they kept their regular job and then did some side hustle on the side, and then led that into something else.
I think when people think of traveling in the medical field, they only think of nursing, but there's actually a lot of opportunities with lots of different medical degrees to travel with. We've met Matt and Leah, who are both physical therapists, and they take turns taking contracts. So the first one will take a turn, the other one stays with the kids, and then they swap off. We've heard of medical laboratory scientists. Physicians can actually travel.
We knew a physician that had a practice, and he would actually fly back, which you're looking to stay in big cities, which is a tip too. If you think, well, if I can physically fly back maybe 1 week out of the month, that would be, not traveling at all for a lot of people. So they would stay close to airports, and he would fly back to his practice and do 1 week a month with, the rest of the physicians.
Yeah, that was a radiologist.
Yeah.
So x-ray techs, there's just so many different ways that it's not just nursing in the medical field. I feel like any type of anything medical, we have seen that you can travel with that degree.
A lot of time in the medical field, you're following the need for where they're looking for travel nurses, or where because they will pay more if you're willing to move and travel, and it can be an advantage to do that. I've also seen if you're willing to follow the need of, I've seen people doing hail damage, following storms, any sort of construction. If you have a construction background, going if there was just a hurricane or tornado, and they're looking for as much help as they can possibly get in a short amount of time. Another great example, this one's kind of neat and out of the box. Allie, who's actually in the campground here, just 2 RVs over, but her family, they've done beet farming. So this is very seasonal. Again, it's a high need where it's like you've got this 1 month-ish where they need to get these beets that they're all going to ruin. And so
they need to be picked.
They need to be, however that works with the beets, yeah. But tons of people, and a lot of RVers and people that are remote, come into this area, and they work together and get decent pay and an insane amount of hours in just like these 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and make pretty good money doing becoming a beet farmer for a month. We met different RVers that do that and travel for that need.
That's woofing too.
Woofing?
Woofing is like kind of like a work camping where you can work on farms. So that's another great thing we've seen is you can find the needs of these different farms, and they provide you a place to stay, and you work and kind of exchange resources that way.
I think if you look at things that are trending right now, obviously the RV industry is trending. Two different, I mentioned Mike with the solar, but we've also got Stuart does RV inspections. Stuart and Lindsay, you know, they're still in that transitional phase of they sold their house and they're getting on the road, but he's gotten his licensing to do inspections on RVs for people. And if you're in the right area at the right time, there are lots of places and lots of ways to do things with RVs. There are people who do roofing jobs with certain third-party roofing companies for RVs. Josh, we know Josh and Mary. Mary sells Plexus, but Josh does mobile RV repairs. So they, especially in the winter in Florida, or if you're in Albuquerque or Quartzsite, or, you know, you're looking for these areas where there's lots of RVs. No, I'm telling you, no issue finding work in the RV industry if you take the time. A little outside the box, related to RVs as well. Travis and Aaron, our Lively Tribe, they actually remodel RVs and then they resell those RVs as they remodel them. We met another person, I can't remember his name, in this campground that does the same thing. They always have two RVs. They have this home base with the RV they're remodeling, and then they're traveling as they get a chance with the other RV, and then coming back and then maybe fixing that one up. So they're kind of cool because we're always having different RVs. But if you've got a passion for remodeling RVs, there's a model there for that. We've also seen RVers that travel full time do services like pressure washing. People need pressure washing. Maybe their truck, maybe their RV, but they travel, they've got the pressure washer, maybe a tiny trailer that they can hook up behind a Class A, or they have a separate truck that's towing that small trailer, but they take the pressure washer, they go around, and they do that service for people too. So Marissa's looking through, we actually sort of surveyed our patrons to see what everybody did. What do you think's the ratio between like physical hands-on, pressure washing, RV repair versus maybe like, I don't know, marketing type stuff versus maybe teaching type stuff versus medical field type stuff versus IT stuff? That's a lot of stuff. Does it kind of feel like it's spread out evenly and all that?
I would say so. Mortgage professional, IT field, RV repair, software. I'm a musician, experience design team, traveling nurse. I create music for video games and YouTube, a data analysis, traveling nurse practitioner, a lot of marketing on there as well. So really cool.
I think if you want to build up one skill set that would help you, I think building up your marketing muscles, is that the right way? I don't know, we need to build ours up better too, but like if you can build that up, it like branches into all this stuff, whether you're like marketing yourself to your current boss trying to go remote, whether you're trying to launch a new product, whether you're, it grows and expands into all these things. And I think maybe in the bucket of general tips or general strategies is something we kind of incorporated into our journey, and we've seen incorporated into some other people's journey, is what I might call the 2-year plan, or you might already be 1 year into it. And so you look for the ugliest house in a neighborhood that you're looking to be in. Oh. I want to see your face more than mine. Hensley, this is a mess, kid.
Whoa.
And then you buy the house, and then over the next 2 years, you fix it up as you get time yourself. Hopefully the market appreciates somewhat during that time frame, and then when you sell the house, you don't pay income tax on it because you've owned it and lived in it as your primary residence for 2 years. And then you can take that money that you've made, and you can either put that as cash toward your purchases, or you can use that as a very large fund on the side. And we've seen people do this. I guess another example would be Finding Our Someday. They sold their home and most everything they owned. They took that money, went toward their adventure they had, hopefully for at least a year, and then they figured during that year, and we've heard that a lot, there would be people like, well, we're going to give this a year, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do on the road during this year. Some people learn that, hey, a year is good for me. We made memories that'll last a lifetime. Some people say, wow, I want to be on the road way longer than a year, which has been the case for Finding Our Someday. And so they look for ways to work on farms and work with other people, and then they've been building their brand over time as they've gone along. And so they've taken that money and they've really stretched that out to just continue to make awesome memories for their family. Creating that chunk of change in the beginning can be sort of a launching pad. Is that a quick, because I know it seemed like forever. It took us a year to go, thinking 2 years. Like any of these plans, you'll notice most everything we talked about, I don't know that any of them are, hey, you can launch this week type deals.
I think the biggest takeaway I have is I didn't even know there were ways to be an entrepreneur, to work for yourself. I didn't even know there was more opportunities out there. I thought I had went to school for nursing, that was the job I was supposed to do, and I didn't know that there was ways to pivot. And I think that's one of the coolest things that the RV life has taught me, because I was super scared taking that leap from nurse to YouTuber, and I think over time it just gave me confidence to know that it's just a different way of helping people, being a nurse versus creating these videos to encourage. Like, there are just different ways that I can use my skills. It doesn't have to be through a specific, kind of career path. We all do have these special skills that we can use in these most unique ways and travel and create memories. And it's just kind of been a fun way to, like, we love creating videos and being together as a family. And I never even saw this as an opportunity. And I didn't even know this was a passion of mine. We didn't know creating videos was something we even enjoyed.
No, we had we gave you our background. No background in video creation. 3 quick takeaways. I think number 1, building off what Marissa said, I think if you can find a personality test or something to where you find out what your passions are and your skills are, and then have the open mindset that you can pivot maybe from where you're at. If you hate your job, maybe you ask the question, well, why did I take that job, or did I love that job at some point, and what has changed? Second, I think an awesome resource is the RV Entrepreneur Podcast. Heath is always pivoting, man. And Alyssa's just awesome. Their email list is awesome if you want to get on that. He created a podcast that's mainly what it does. It brings in these people and they talk to them and find out, wow, how did you start making money doing this on the road? And the third thing, which we'll link to and we spoke at, is the Escapees Rethinking Remote Work virtual conference, which started on Friday the 4th, but it goes on through the 8th. You can sign up for that. You can, if you want any more from us, you can do that. But there's lots of other great speakers on there talking about what are some great ideas and ways that you can get on the road by figuring out how to make money through some sort of work.
I just think the possibilities are really endless. So I hope this sparks some inspiration to help you hit the road and start your adventure.
So those are some of our thoughts and some examples we've seen on the road of how to make money on the road. Until next video, we'll see you on the next journey.